Right, write down the topic. Write down the topic in your CR book. Bad debts and doubtful debts. Clear? Bad debts and doubtful debts. Right. Write down the first equation, first transaction. 55,000 written off as bad debts. Written off as bad debts. Transaction number one. Transaction, identify 20% provision for doubtful debts. Provision for doubtful debts on 900,000 debtor balance. 900,000 debtor balance. Right. First of all, write down the account equation. Liability plus equity. Right. So here am I now. First transaction, written off mean, right? Written off means, right? Written off means we have to, right? Don't consider, right? Like identify. Written off means identify. Understand this? So bad debt means on a special word here, bad debt, right? And doubtful debt. First of all, I'll explain what is the meaning of bad debt, right? You have learned this one, I think, all levels, but again, I'll explain. So let's think, this is the business, and here's the customer, right? Here's the customer. So let's think from the customer, there's a receivable balance, right? Receivable balance. Let's think around 55,000. 55,000 should be receivable, right? And because of few reasons, right? Let's think because of the death, right? Death of this customer, right? And death and also what, um mental disorder, right? Mental disorder. Understand the death, mental disorder, and bankruptcy, right? What is the meaning of bankrupt? Bankrupt means simply, right, financially unstable, right? I mean financially unstable, right? Bankrupt. Understood? Bankrupt. Therefore, because of these reasons, can you recover the these receivable amount? Can you collect the cashes from this customer? Because of the death and mental disorder and bankruptcy, can you recover? No, neither, right? You can't recover the balances. We 100% sure cannot recover. 100% sure the amount can't recover the balance. Cannot recover. Understand? Therefore, this will be like, then what do you think? If receivable balance, like, if you can't recover the amount, right, it will be income or expense. If you can't recover the balance, it will become what? It will become what? Expense for the business. So we call it what? Bad debt. Bad debt. Understand the me? Bad debt expense will be 55,000, which is not expense definitely. Clear? Become expense for the business. Bad debt expense. But Lama, can you identify still the 55,000 as an asset? No, no more receivables. Me, right? No more receivables. So you have to deduct it, right? No more receivable for the business, right? No more receivables. Therefore, how to record under account equation? Maybe expenses recorded under what? Equity. Ownership level decreases because of the expense, right? Equity decreases as what? Bad debt. Clear? The bad debt. So other one, right? Make no more receivable, so you have to deduct the receivable balance 55,000. So you have to deduct what's the asset? Debtor. Debtor asset decrease 55,000. No more receivables. Clear? Understand? Right? Because of the reason, so you have to write off. You have to identify as an expense that one. Deduct the receivables and identify as an expense. Okay, the clear? Right. First of all, record it. I'll explain them in detail each transaction, then we can do transactions. Huh? Right. Next transaction, identify 20% provision for doubtful debts, right, on 900,000 debtor balance. And here we have 100% sure we can't recover the amount, right? We can't recover because of the debt, right? So here, special one, identify. So let's think, here's the business. So, and here's the customer again, right? Customer. Uh, so, so let's think from the customer receivable balance, right? Let's think the receivable balance from 900,000. So no need to record this one. Huh? This is the receivable balance, right? Receivable balance, right? Should be receivable. But uh, here, right? Here we have to identify some amount, right? We have to ready for future. We have doubt, right? We don't know the exact amount. We have to, and based on our previous year, right? In last year there were around 5% bad debts, right? 10% bad debts, 12%, 15%, around 20%. Based on previous year experiences, you have to identify current year, right? Around 10%. Then here questions given like 10%, all right, 20%, but not only 20%, but it depends on question, right? 20%, 5%, right? If question right? So around 20% will not cannot recover, right? Around 20%, right? Not recoverable, right? We have to identify in advance. Understand? Right? Let's think. Then we have to think around 20% we can't recover. Understood? So, right, this is not the actual one. Can be recovered, around can be recovered, but in accounting we have to ready for future bad debts. Me ready for future bad debts, right? Future bad debts in advance. So we call it we call it what? Bad, not bad debts, right? Ready for me. Therefore, we call it doubtful debt. Doubtful debt. Understood? Doubtful debt. Clear? Doubtful debt. Right? So we have to calculate the doubtful debt like this. Right? Doubtful debt equals debtor balance into the percentage. Then here 20%, always not 20%. Debtor balance from 900 receivable. Around 20% we have to think cannot recover. How much? 180. Me that one also expense, right? Me you have to recognize the doubtful debt expense as 180. Clear? 180. So, and it becomes definitely expense, right? Me so you have to deduct it from what? As an expense. And it can be recoverable, right? හම්බෙන්න පුළුවන්, but in accounting there's special thing we have ready for future losses in advance. So we have to recognize in advance. Me don't record this one. Debtor balance don't need to record. So you have to consider to calculate. Me 180 we call it doubtful debt. Doubtful debt. Clear? And also then you have to record this one as same as bad debts. So you have to record from deducted from what? Debtor balance, receivable balance, you have to deduct it. Right? ඒක අර හම්බෙන්නේ නැහැ කියලා අපි කලින් අයින් කළා දාන්න. Right? The bad debts also deducted from debtor. This one also deducted from debtor asset. Me right? Like same as bad debt. Debt receivable balance decrease and recognized as an doubtful debt expense. Okay, right? Understand? දෙකම එක වගේ, but here identify percentage, right, using the receivable balance, but here you exactly know the amount. right? Definitely can't recover. Understood? Right, here you have to calculate the amount, right, and recognize as an expense as well as deducted from receivable balance, right? Okay, the understood. This is expense, huh? And also deducted from receivable balance. No more receivables, right? Okay, the any question? Next one, my furniture. No, depreciation. Write down the topic depreciations. Here I'll write down machine depreciations 10,000, computer depreciations, two transactions, right? What is the meaning of depreciations, right? So I'll write down the account equation here, right? So depreciation means simply lamai, uh, let's think business has, right, non-current assets, right? Non-current assets, clear? Non-current assets. So what are the examples for non-current assets, right? Then so we call them property, plant and equipment. What are the non-current assets? Land, buildings, right? Right, these are property, plant and equipment. The PPE means property, plant and equipment, building, furniture, right? Machine, right? Computers, right? What else? um right, so there are so many things, right? Building machines, furnitures, right? Equipments. So when, right, when using these non-current assets now, right, what happened then? Let's think your motor vehicle purchase, right, few months ago, right? Last 5 months, 5 years ago, let's think, right? Motor vehicles. So now lama what happened to the value, right? Gradually lama value, what happened to the value, I mean, actually definitely decrease any value, decrease, right? So right, normally when using these assets, what happened? Value of the asset decrease, right? Value of the assets will be decreased. Understood? So we call it lama. Then what is this? Is when reduction is the value of non-current assets, it become expense or income for the business. Definitely what? Expense, right? So we call it what? Depreciation expense, right? Depreciation expense, depreciations, right? You have to recognize as an expense. Understand the expense you have to, and then here lama, from the equity minus, huh? From the equity you have to deduct it, right? Depreciation expense. So the first one lama here, but machines ne. So when depreciate, when value reduction in non-current assets, what happened to the machine asset? Machine asset decreased by, or deducted by 10,000 machine, clear? So equity decreased by 10,000, what? Machine depreciation expense. You have to write down the expense name here. A short form DP, and N means lama udindana moka the depreciation short term, right? Depreciation expense. So and also machine asset decrease, machine value decrease. So next one, computers, me computer value decrease because of the usages. So compute asset minus, and it becomes expense, we deducted from equity. What? Computer depreciation expense, right? Machine depreciation expense, motor vehicle depreciation expense, computer depreciation, equipment depreciation, motor vehicle depreciation, like that. You have to record the expense name here, right? And deducted from the relevant asset. Understand the Batlamai? Can we depreciate lands? Can you depreciate? Then each and every non-current assets has have lifetime maximum 50 years, 100 years. But like, can we depreciation land? No, you can't depreciate lamai land because lamai they have infinity lifetime, right? Infinity what lifetime? Understand? Infinite lifetime because right there are no right unlimited lifetime period. Therefore, we assume that we can't depreciate the lands, right? Value we can't do in and then well normally around 100 years ago, your lands like normally purchased for 100 rupees, 50 rupees like that, but now 10 million, right? 1 million, 50 million like that, right? Value gradually increases. So we thought not going to we can't depreciate land. So other assets you can depreciate, right? Except land. Understand? No need write down. Just record an accounting equation. You can't depreciate land, right? Alright. Okay, though. Yeah, yeah. We buildings can depreciate. Building here when building depreciation, building asset decrease, building depreciation. All other assets you can depreciate because value reduction, value normally are parana given a praman when using your mobile phone now, right? Laptop, right? Value parana but we can't identify it practically, but in accounting we have to measure it, right? Like amounts, right? This is not the exact value, but we have to think around 10,000, right? Based on the accountant experience, right? They will determine like some policies, right? 4,000 rent of the business. Can you record? Can you record this one on the accounting equation? Can you record? Anyone can tell me the answer. Owner paid, huh? But owner paid. Can you tell me? Can't. Right. So this is the way, right? Then here, let's think. This is the business, right? Here's the that relevant person who owns the building owner, right? So we have to pay the rent. We have to pay rent. So how can you record it? What happened to the cash asset? Your cash asset line definitely decreased by how much? 4,000, and rent become what? Expense for the business. Rent expense, right? Rent expenses. Expense line deducted from what? Deducted from equity, yeah, right? Actually, expense increase, but deducted from equity. Clear, right? Rent. Now, what then how to record here if they paid? So me business cash lamai. So I'm not going to record, but let's think business doesn't have lamai cash 4,000 cash to pay this rent expense. May rent එක ගෙවන්න නෑ කියලා හිතන්න ඔයාගේ සල්ලි, right? They don't have cash. So business informed the owner, right? Me here's the owner. Informed the owner, please provide 4,000 to the business to pay this building rent, right? Business doesn't have cashes at the moment, so inform the owner, please provide 4,000 cash to the business to provide what? To pay building rent, right? Therefore what happened me? Now owner me provide cash to the business to pay this building rent. Me when owner providing cashes to the business, what happened to the owner's ownership? We call it what? Capital. Me owner's capital balance my ownership increased by 4,000, and my cash asset increased by 4,000 now. Clear the only that's the first one. Me there are two transactions. Me cash asset capital balance increase and cash asset also increase. Now they have cash to pay this rent. Again, what happened? Me cash asset decrease. Now they can pay what? Rent expense. Clear the, but can you tell me what's the net impact of cash here? Then may owner provide and using that cash, rent paid. So what's the net impact? Cash. Cash increase, cash decrease again to pay this rent. What is the net impact of cash? Can learn. What is net impact of this cash transaction? In cash, locus cash increase, again locus cash decrease. What? Zero, right? Zero. Zero. Right? Therefore, no need to consider it. එතකොට වෙන්නේ මෙහෙමයි, right? මේ දැන් when paid business normally cash as a decrease. However, ළමයි owner paid or whatever, definitely equity what? Equity ළමයි decrease because of rent expense. Right? No need to record cash impact. So owner paid, therefore owner's ownership increase. Owner's ownership increase because he provide cash to the business for business transactions, to pay business transaction. Understand? Clear? Can you see the word? Right? May capital balance increase by 4,000. Understood? තේරෙනවද? ඒ owner දානකින් තමයි rent එක pay කරන්න වෙන්නේ. මොන special one no? Right? Not impact to the cash balance. May cash as it actually increase, again decrease, and therefore no need to record cash amounts. Okay, they understand? Not property. Use කරන්නේ නේ investment. Right? Okay, let me understand. So anyone can record this one. Try to write down this one in your CR book. Owner paid 20,000 bank loan of the business. Can you record this one? Of the business. Can you record? Can you record this one? Owner paid. Can you tell me? Owner paid business loan. Loan means liability. Ne? Yes. Then when paid lamai, however paid nam bank loan settle. Ne? Bank loan liability decreased by 20,000. But paid by then, if the business paid lamai, business cashes decrease. Ne? Now paid by what? Not deducted business cashes. Owner paid. Ne? Therefore, owner provide cash to the business to pay bank loan. Therefore, his ownership increase again. We call it what? Capital. Capital me. Owner provides and bank loan settle. Therefore, no need to hear it, right? Like this. Understand it? Understood? Write down debtor receipts. Debtor receipts and discount what? Allow. Debtor receipts and discounts allowed. Write down. Debtor receipts and discounts allowed. Transaction number 1. 500,000 debtor balance. Settle. Settle and discount allowed was 50,000. Right. 50,000. Right. And highlight the word balance here. Balance. And also settle means, right? Settling means here I'm receiving cashes, right? I'll explain. And write down another transaction. Another one. 960,000 received from debtors and discounts allowed was 40,000. 40,000. Write down first of all and highlight the word here received. Received. Right. Okay, the explain කරන්නද? Right. Okay, the finish. හරිය. Right. Now here ළමයි debtor means ළමයි customer නේ. Right. So from the customer business and here's the customer. All right. Let's think from the customer ළමයි receivable balance. Right. Receivable balance නේ. Balance means receivable amount was 500,000. Right, receivable balance 500,000. So here's settle means lamai receiving cash. He settled the balance, going to pay cash to the business, right? To the business actually receiving cash from the customer, right? So let's think, me customer going to pay cashes to the business. So when paying cashes, business say no need, right? No need to pay total amounts. Right, ඔක්කොම ගෙවන්න ඕනේ, no need to pay total amounts, just keep 50,000 as a discount, right? Keep, right? Rejected me, no need, rejected how much? 50,000 and says no need to pay. We are not going to give, right? We are not paying from our cashes, right? We reject that. That 50,000 also should be receivable, received to the business, but business say no need to pay. I keep that one as a discount, so pay only remaining balance. So can you tell me how much would be the received amount then? අපිට cash වලින් කොච්චරද හම්බෙන්නේ? How much the received amount from customer then? Business rejected 50, total receivable 500. How much the cash receipts then? Anyone? How much the receipt amount? 450, right, Tommy? Received only 450. Right, this is not paid from the cashes, right? Business cashes, so I'll write down without last three zeros, right? We are not going to pay from business cash, right? ඒක හම්බෙන්න තියෙන එකක් එපා කියලා කියනවා, right? Receivable amount rejected, right? Not going to pay our locals cash, clear? Therefore, right, therefore, right, so here 450 received, so you can identify this one like this way. Received amount equals receivable. Receivable means balance කියලා දීපු, that's the receivable balance, හම්බෙන්න තියෙන ගාන, receivable minus we call ළමයි discounts allowed, right? So we call this one ළමයි, what's the meaning? Discounts allowed. Discounts allowed means simply discounts given, right? Discount එකක් දෙනවා, හම්බෙන්න තියෙන එකෙන් තමයි දෙන්නේ, අපි සල්ලි වලින් දෙන්නේ නැහැ, clear? Right. Therefore this will be ළමයි income or expense for the business. Receivable balance rejected, income or expense. What do you think? Income or expense? Definitely expense for the business. Receivable එක එපා කියනවා නෙවෙයි, expense. Clear? No, number one. And received amount 250. Sorry, 450. Balance how much? 500. Okay, discount 50. Received amount how much? 450. But lamai, can you identify still this receivable as asset? No. Business rejected 350. Therefore, no more receivable from customers. Total amount lamai you have to reverse. ඔක්කොම ටික අයින් කරලා දාන්න ඕනේ මේ, no more receivables. Total balance ළමයි you have to deduct amount. ඔක්කොම ටික අයින් කරලා දාන්න ඕනේ මේ, no more receivables. Just received 450, business rejected 50, so total balance එකම අයින් කරලා දාන්න. Reverse the balance, right? Remove the balance. No more receivables. Clear? So received amount how much? 450 me. So added to the cash balance. Right, I'll write down like this. Okay, cash balance increased by 450. Discounts lama expense me. Expenses impact to decrease equity me. Discounts what? Allowed expense. But lama no more receivables me. Total receivable balance should be deducted. Make from the customer balance, customer lama asset me. Right, receivable balance deducted from the business me. Transaction number one. There are three impacts actually. And here we call dual impact, but minimum dual do two impacts, but there can be three impacts, right? Cash receives, discounts allowed expense deducted, total amount should be deducted from customer. Understand? Okay, the clear? Right, Harida. Right. But let me how to record second one. Second one says let me balance or received amount. Questions given let me received amount, which means let me already deduct the discount. Clear the me? Questions given received amount 960. So you have to identify how much was the receivable balance. Clear the so discounts was how much? 40. Right. So receivable balance how much? 1000, and so you can't deduct it 960, right? So that's the received amount. Understand the right? Received amount by cash increase 960, right? Discounts allowed here expense, right? Total receivable balance decrease 1000. Yeah, I'll write down with zeros, right? Receivable balance decreased by 1000 debtor. Total receivable amount decrease. Okay, then understand? Right, when you see the word balance line, not deduct the discounts. When you see the word received amount, or received means after discount, which means already deduct the discount. Right, okay, then the finish. And write down creditor payment and discount received. Discount received. Write down creditor payment and discount received. No? Creditor payment and discount received. And write down first transaction when settling 600,000 creditor balance received 60,000 discount. Received discount now. Clear? Received discount. Next one, paid 380,000 to creditors and received 20,000 discount. Received 20,000 discount. Right. First of all, write down. Now, right. Now I'll write down the account equation here. Right. How to record now? equity, right? How to record now? Right, look at now. Then this is my creditor means uh creditor means supply and creditor means supply. Clear the supply. So this is the business. Here's the supplier, right? Supplier. So let's think payable balance to the supplier, right? How much? 600,000. Me balance. Highlight the word balance. Balance means payable balance given the gun. How much? 600,000. Right, 600,000. Clear. So now, when going to pay, then here settling means like payments, right? And debtor settling debtor means like receiving cashes from customer. Here settling means payments, payments to the suppliers, payments. When going to pay cash, when going to pay cashes to the supplier, supplier says no need to pay total amount. Keep how much? 60,000 as a discount. I'll record only 600, right? Keep 60,000 as a discount. Therefore, right? They will not, business not receiving cashes, right? Right? Payable amount you can keep, right? Therefore, can you tell me how much the paid amount? How much we have to pay? No need to pay total 600. Keep 60,000 as a discount. So, payment paid amount how much? What do you know? Right? Therefore, paid amount how much? Paid amount will be 540 lamai, right? Paid amount cash decrease, therefore this make discounts will be income expense. Payable amount you can keep as a discount. Pay කරන්න ඕනේ නැහැ, තියාගන්න පුළුවන්. ගෙවන්න ඕනේ ගෙවන්න තු තියාගන්න පුළුවන්, which will be income or expense for the business. What do you think? Income, right? ගෙවන්න ඕනේ me, it becomes what ළමයි? Income for the business. Income. Clear the on the income increase. So paid amount 540. So here, can you identify the total amount as now? It's still no. No more payables. No more payables. Me full amount you have to reverse. Right? You have to deduct it. Full amount. 600 you have to deduct. Clear? No more payables. මොකද යානේ කිව්වේ ගෙවන්න ඕනේ නැහැ කියලා. Therefore, how to record an accounting equation? Paid amount how much? 540. I'll write down without zeros. Cash asset decreased by 540. Right? Income නෙමෙයි. Income record under what? Equity. How much? 60 plus. Right? Called discount what? Received. Clear? But no more payables. Total amount deducted from liability. Make creditor. Clear? Creditor balance decrease. Understand? So you can identify and also write down me paid amount lama you can identify like this. Paid amount equals payable balance minus discount received. Payable balance how much? 600,000. Discount 60. Paid amount how much? 540. Like this, you can identify. Okay, they understand. Can you send me the answers? Yes. Right. Second transaction, my questions given paid amount. Me paid amount means already deduct the discounts, which is my how much? 380. 380. So discounts was 20. So how much was the payable amount? Payable amount was my 400. So how to record? Paid 380 cash, liability decrease, total payable amount, creditor, discount 20,000, discount received, DR. Right. Correct the understand? Write down the topic loan installments. Loan installment, right? Last transaction. Right. Write down the transaction. Business paid 50,000 loan installment by including 10,000 what interest. Right. First of all, write down 10,000 interest. Right. So now when we are going to pay loans, right, to the bank, right, there are two types of payments. First one my loan payment, right, loan payment, as well as what is other one? In addition to the loan repayment, we have to pay additional amount called what? Interest, right? Interest payment. Clear? Interest payment. Understand? Interest payment. So when you see the word, highlight the word installment. Installment, right? When you see the word installment, there are two parts: loan payment and interest. Clear? There are two parts. So can you tell me how much installment here? 50,000, right? We called installment means like both, right? Both loan payment as well as interest. Interest එකටයි loan එකටයි දෙකටම තමයි installment කියලා කියන්නේ. Clear? So which includes 10,000 interest නේ? 10,000 interest. So can you tell me how much was the loan repayment? How much was the loan repayment? Loan එකකින් ගෙවන ගාන කීයද? Which is now how much? 40,000, right? 40,000. Clear? Therefore, now both paid in cash. Therefore, Locker's business cash asset decreased by how much? Definitely 50,000. Right? Cash asset definitely decreased by 50,000. Cash asset. Cash asset decreased by 50. So, loan means now my loan payment how much? Paid 40. Loan means what? Loan liability decrease. Bank loan means liability anyway. Payable balance. Therefore, bank loan liability decreased by 40,000. Clear? Bank loan. Right? So, interest how much? 10,000. Can you tell me what is interest means? Income, expense, liability, or asset? Interest. Loan repayment means liability. Interest can work. What is the meaning of interest? Interest, income, or expense? Definitely one expense, right? Expense, interest expense. Right? Therefore, which should be expense for the business. Clear? Therefore, interest recorded under what? Interest recorded under equity. Interest 10,000 interest expense. Clear? Interest expense. So you have to use this equation, right? Identify installment means both, right? Both loan payment and interest, right? So consider the interest and identify the unknown loan payment. Loan prepayment you have to identify, right? Clear?